Bloom News Brief. More info at fullandbloom.com. Motley Crue bassist Nikki Sixx was recently interviewed by Matt Pinfield on KLOS. A link to the entire interview can be found in the description. On David Bowie's album, Diamond Dogs, Nikki said, "Best album ever. Future legend, that starts that record. I just kept listening to that over and over. For Shout at the Devil, we had demoed a bunch of those songs like Bastard, Looks at Kill, Shout at the Devil, and we had a song on there called I Will Survive. We were just having fun in the studio, like taking a gong and winding it up and then hitting it and letting it unwind. We would record that and try to put it into a song. We would narrate over it. We're doing all this stuff in this song, I Will Survive. I kept listening to Future Legend, and that's where In the Beginning came from. In the Beginning is just Future Legend. That's all it is. I'll never deny that." On finding Motley Crue guitarist Mick Mars. A lot of books that I've read from different worlds, whether you're a CEO of a company or a musician or an actor. There's a lot of chest beating, a lot of how great I am, and I have to say, I think there's a big part of how we get to wherever we get to go to. You can control part of that destiny by working harder than anybody else, or spending more time learning about that said thing or business, instrument, whatever it is, but there comes elements of luck, and people count out luck. For me, luck was my uncle. I came to Los Angeles where it was like a petri dish of insanity for my imagination. As I was going on this journey, putting bands together, auditioning for bands, working 2 jobs a day, sometimes even 3, sleeping 2 or 3 hours. I worked in a factory from 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd work a 12-hour shift. I was just happy to make money. I would come back from deep in the valley to where I lived in a garage in Burbank, and I would try to put myself together and get some food, and then I would walk to the liquor store, Burbank Liquor, down the street, and I would work until close at 2 a.m. And then I had to be at work again at 5. In the meantime, I'm studying and I'm listening, and on weekends I'm going out to the clubs. So I'm working at this liquor store, and this cool-looking dude comes through the door, and I'm like, all right, finally someone around here that's on the same page. The guy has long black hair, looked ghoulish and cool. We started talking, and Mick asked me what kind of stuff I was into. And I told him, and he told me he was into Paul Butterfield, which I didn't even know who Paul Butterfield was at that point. He was into Jeff Beck, which I love Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck put out 2 of my favorite records, Blow by Blow and Wired. That's where Mick was coming from. He was coming from the blues, the rootsy guitar playing, and we were just on a different page. And he said, "Kid, if you want to see a real guitar player play, come down the street. I'm playing at the Stone Pony or whatever it was called." And I can't remember how I got in, but it was the 70s. You could get into places underage. Go up to the bar and order a drink if you could afford it. So I went in. I'd stolen a bottle of Bacardi, stuck it in my boot, and walked in the club. So I take my bottle out, Mick comes over, and we have some drinks. And I think we got pretty hammered from what I remember. And then he went up on stage and he was playing, and I was like, this is like everything I ever imagined. He had this mic stand and he was using it as a slide, doing all this crazy stuff. I'd never seen anything like that. So we had each other's phone numbers, but we lost contact. Then when we did reconnect, me and Tommy were looking for band members, and we answered an ad in the recycler. It just said, loud, rude, aggressive guitar player, and Mick showed up, looking the same as he did the day I met him, in raggy clothes and crazy black hair. He had a guy with him, like his guitar tech. I didn't even know what a tech was. I was my own tech. They had strapped to the outside of this small car a Marshall cabinet, and inside they had a Marshall head. And Mick and this guy come in and they set up this Marshall half stack. Tommy's got all his drums, and I've got one SVT cabinet and a head. We're in this dilapidated house that should have been knocked down in North Hollywood, and I'm like, here, check this out. And he just grabbed a hold of it, and he's been my favorite guitar player ever since. But that's luck. You can't take luck out of the equation. To listen to the entire interview and David Bowie's Future Legend, click the link in the description. More news at fullandbloom.com.